are going to unbox a third grade guided math kit from ETA Hand to Mind. We are also going to talk about the components of the guided math framework. And I'm going to try to do that simultaneously, but not sure how that's going to go. So first of all, the components of guided math. What is guided math? It is a structure for your math block. It is flexible and it allows you to meet with your students in small groups. So to differentiate for the kiddos and do so in a small group setting. So it's this framework for how you run your math block with all sorts of different options in order to help you, the teacher, meet with your kids to bring them to mastery and beyond. It's not about a certain curriculum that you buy, it is the structure that you put into place. So within that structure, there are a lot of awesome choices that you can make to kind of fill in how you want that schedule to look. But we're going to talk about the 4 key components that you should have going on in the guided math classroom. All right, so before I get into that, I'm actually going to open a third grade kit. We're going to check it out, and then as I describe the components, I'll show them to you with this third grade kit. I'm going to try not to shank myself. Okay, but I'm not great with scissors, so hang on. Okay, so I actually have not looked at a third grade kit yet at all, so I am really excited about this. Get it out. So now that the kit is open, we're going to segue back to that first component of guided math, and that is our math warm-up. In the teacher's guide for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the math warm-up is going to look a little different than it does in K1 and 2. This is going to be a problem of the day format. So for each lesson, there is a math warm-up problem. The purpose of a guided math warm-up is that you're allowing your students to practice and apply what they have been working on with you, but in a meeting of the math minds. So when you present the problem of the day, and this is a black line, so you could run it off, you could also project it and just focus on that one problem for the day. You're coming together, students have a chance to process through and solve, but then you want to bring that out as a meeting of the math mind. So what did you know about the problem? What strategy did you choose to solve with and why? And how did that work for you? Did someone else get the same result with a different strategy? So it's a way to come together and practice and apply and learn from our peers. So the ones that struggle will hear multiple perspectives. They'll see different strategies being used. It allows you that reteach time, and it builds that fluency and that math comprehension because they're hearing it repeatedly throughout every day of that unit. So that is a math warm-up. That is your first component. The next component is going to be your math mini lesson. Now I'm going to show you a lesson plan so that you can see where that is. So we've got essential question, lesson objective, this first big box here, and it shows you about 25% of that math block is going to be my math mini lesson. And this is going to give you that lesson and your discussion questions for that, as well as the materials which we can find in the kit. So our math mini lesson is a whole group teach time. The focus is to introduce the concept, to give that background knowledge. So how can I link this to what we know? How can I make it conceptual so that my students can get a real understanding of not just problem solving, but what's actually happening behind the scenes? Can I fill in any math knowledge that will help them build that foundation? So the third component of guided math, as we move on from our mini lesson and we break out into stations, this is when I pull those small groups. So this next section of the lesson plan is your small group lesson. It's going to take a large part of your math block because you're doing this multiple times with different groups. Now stay with me because remember, it's very flexible. So if you meet 1 to 2 groups a day, then that's where you're at, and that's great. Don't compare yourself to the teacher next door. So the main thing is we want to teach our students the new instruction, the nitty-gritty numbers and problem-solving portion when we have them in a small group setting, so that we can address any needs we see, any misconceptions, and then also bring them to mastery and beyond. And then down below your small group lesson, you've got your differentiation, remediation, on level, and enriched. All right, so for each one of these, there's going to be a set of games, cards, maps, whatever it is that's going to help you teach those different lessons in that small group setting. So you would just match the lesson number to that lesson plan, and you've got enough for all your groups, for multiple sets, for the kiddos that are all in front of you. So let's recap the components of guided math. So we've got our math warm-up in 3rd through 5th. That's going to be a problem of the day. And in K1 and 2, we do a math warm-up kind of on the carpet area. And there's a poster that will give you those math warm-up games and ideas to do in the K1 and 2. So then we move into our math mini lesson. That's whole group. And we then break out into stations and we begin pulling small group. That's our 3rd component, small group instruction and the stations. And our 4th component is a math reflection. So how do we come back together and close out that lesson? How do we help students to think about their thinking throughout the day and share connections and new growth?